Hi everyone, this is Jen. Welcome. So, I wanted to do this video talking today about, really coming into yourself, coming into your wholeness. And I want to share an experience to hopefully provide a understanding of how we are intended to be, really, in our honoring of ourself, right, in our union. And so I'll share a little bit about this experience I had with a potential client. So just to provide a little bit of background. So, given the current times that we're existing in, I'm receiving unemployment, and I'm obviously in, a certain financial situation, financial circumstance based on a multitude of factors. And many of us are very afraid. We don't know exactly how things are going to come together. And so I'm sharing this to, provide perspective for people, perhaps. And so for me personally, like something that I'm focusing very much on for my own personal well-being, and it doesn't matter where I'm at within the process or where I'm at within, right, any type of system or structure where I may be placed at, et cetera, et cetera. Let's think about that. So, because we live in, people will, within their own energy field, they will place us within a certain space as well, let's say. So this is for the purpose of kind of understanding, right, this overall perspective. And so I'm in that space. My business is still getting up and running. I'm still learning how to bring in clients, and both here locally as well as within the online sphere, working with people remotely. And this has been a journey, and learning how to truly be in my own essence, and learning how to value myself, and learning how to present myself, and all these different things. Like, well, what do I have to offer? Within various fields that I'm working within. For instance, I work with families to prepare for conception, to prepare for birth, to prepare for postpartum. I support moms, during birth, helping them to know what they need to know, to emotionally prepare, to physically prepare, and to provide them some tools in order to get into a good, let's say, a good labor pattern, to learn how to relax in between, the surges and what people will call contractions, providing, new mindsets on women and birthing individuals to help them and support them in really empowering themselves, right? Empowering themselves and advocating for themselves. Because unfortunately, the current construct we live in does not support that. It does not provide birthing individuals and families what they truly need. And yet they're sold on this idea of something, and it essentially locks them out from this greater experience that something like birth, something like conception, something like this life-changing event is. And so many birthing individuals partners perhaps are starting to wake up to this too. It's almost as if they're robbed of something, some aspect of the experience. And people are beginning to recognize this and open up to this. So this is, a part of what I am here for, and to bring awareness to how, we are currently within our understanding of honoring birth and where we truly are meant to go. And so this is kind of my platform, right? This is my premise and my overall. And I also, I support people individually as well. And so this has obviously been a process to get everything up and running. And, and then when COVID hit, right, like I was planning on getting all of these courses created and recorded. And then all of a sudden I had my son at home and there's all this, right, stuff going on. And, without getting off tracking within that, part of that process is doing that inner work, right? As an entrepreneur, as somebody who is here to really be the sacred entrepreneur, stay within this alignment and yet also create something for themselves, right? This desire to create. Entrepreneurship is a beautiful path. Really, a sacred path for one. And so I hope to share that, but I also hope to provide perspective on kind of that greater picture. For those of us who are choosing this path of truly staying within alignment, creating these new systems, creating these new networks, creating these new ways of being, and really truly shifting things, right? Really truly shifting things. And so fully, wholly, and completely at the micro to macro levels, right? We have to go deeper and deeper within. It's just a continual process of refining one's essence, you could say. And so this is, so I'm, in this certain position, right, within the current, reality. And, I'm blessed with the ability to know truly and feel that, things are happening. And so I've been able to attune myself to that. But looking back at my journey up to this point, and, I've been in these positions before, right? How do I value myself in a position where I know that, you could say I need money, right? I need money because I have to pay this, because I have to pay that, right? And all these different things. But reattuning to your own energy, right? Your own energy. Where do you value your own energy at? Where do you value your own time at? And learning how to truly stick to that, but be with an alignment of that as well. So within that, I have, multiple streams, let's say, or channels of how I receive clients. And I'm still fine-tuning that, and I'm still working in creating my own systems, right? And, as I elevate myself and as I bring myself to these, these new spaces. And so I'm active in some message boards, where other birth workers, let's say, will congregate and share and network. Perhaps they have a client who needs this, et cetera, et cetera. And I had another birth worker reach out to me, somebody here locally, asking me if I was available to work with a client. And, just a quick synopsis of what she's looking for. And I said, sure, I'm available. Now, what she was looking for was it's not that that's not what I provide, but I provide, for me, it's like the whole package, right? You kind of get the whole package and then things unfold naturally. That's how I allow. And I've been, and so within that selling, right, process of learning how to sell really yourself, of learning how to sell your offer, let's say, that's a process, right? It takes time to really come into oneself, come into one's wholeness, right, within that. And so I provided my website and said, I offer a free 30-minute consult. So she called, we had a consult. It was nice, and she was, I just kind of shared, a little bit about, what a day may look like, but there was something that felt kind of off about it. It just didn't feel like, it almost felt like going through the motions, right? It felt like going through the motions, and but I was still, I was learning, right? I was allowing things to unfold because I wanted to see the full picture, let's say. And so, and I can see that looking back. And so, she said, "Oh, it sounds like you're a great fit, but can we meet in person?" Right? Can we meet in person? Now, I have teetered with this idea in the past of, okay, so this is my time, this is my energy, which I'm intended to value, which I do value. And you could say on some level, I didn't. I was not valuing my time and energy in this because she was making it seem, right? She was presenting as, we just want to make sure, right? We just want to make sure, we just want to meet you, et cetera, et cetera. And so in my space, I'm feeling secure. I'm feeling like, okay, well, they want to book me, there's, like they've already kind of made up their mind, but they're just making sure. That's the way I'm kind of feeling into it in my space. And yet again, still feeling like something's missing. There's some type of connection that's missing. And I couldn't quite put my finger on it. And I wasn't really I wasn't there with it, right? I was just going through the process, right? And so, and I have a lot of information out there. I have, people can get to know me on various means. And so when I have somebody that comes to me, I don't always necessarily know, well, have they been watching my videos? What do they know about me? And, that can be an exhaustive process of, attempting to, gauge, let's say, where somebody's at. And I just, for me and honoring my time and my energy, I'm just, I'm not there. I have so much out there that you can get to know me, right? And so I imagine in my space that, okay, so I have these videos, people can understand what they, what I do, that by the time that we're meeting in a discovery call, that you already kind of have an idea of whether or not we would maybe be a good fit. And so in my mind, I'm kind of like feeling into this. Okay, well, she must have, she's probably watched my videos, etc. She feels we're a good fit. And so I agreed to it. I agreed to, take time out of my day, to align, to present, to show up. And so I spent about an hour with them, and and I was just kind of allowing things to just happen. Her husband was essentially working. He met with me for about 5 minutes, went off, and he had a work call, and it just as it is, whatever was happening, we were talking about her parenting philosophy and different things like that. And okay, and I just and I was just I was really just there. I was absorbing. I was connecting within my own space, right? Within my own space. To then, and to then, right, when we're working together, okay, so now I know all these things, right? And so then I can, but I'm not here to, essentially work for you unless you've booked me, right? So, so as I left, she's like, oh yeah, I think we're a really good fit. And I'm like, okay, do you want me to send the booking documents? And so I get home, I take my time, I set up all my booking documents and I send them the invoice, yada, yada, yada. I get and there's a delay. She looks at the invoice, no response. So, and in this, in the way that this, you could say this person was presenting was, okay, she's, I was feeling in my space, okay, this, this is this potential alignment here, right? And I'm like, good, now I can get myself straight with at least part of my rent, and all these different things. I'm, you could say, financially struggling, right? Well, I get an email 2 days later saying essentially, thank you for your time, for, being with us. But we also met with another doula, which they had explained to me that they had met with other doulas, but that they felt that I was the better fit, right? That was what it was insinuated to me in our meeting, right? That they were ready to proceed. And she comes back and she says, we met with another doula, feel that she's a better fit. She had a better connection to my husband and my son. Okay. Now, in my heart of hearts, I knew, because I knew something was off, and I was, and I feel that I was not, that I knew, right? And that I knew on some level, right? There just wasn't that connection. The alignment was just not there, right? We were not within alignment. What I had to offer, you could say, was not what she was looking for. And so, but paying attention to this overall process, when she sent this next communication, it was essentially, thank you for showing up and helping us to make our decision. So within her, right, within their energy field, you could say, they also had met with this other doula. They were also, essentially making a decision. So when I presented myself, they were comparing, right? They were comparing. They were not set on me. They never were. They essentially were set on this other person, and they used me, right, to help them make that decision. Now, she told me that essentially within the email. Like, how does that make a person feel? It makes a person feel used, abused, you could say. And of course, my own past, right? I could get triggered into this traumatic response. Like, I'm the victim here. And I very quickly realized, well, that is why I have my 1-hour service consultation $50 charge. That I refund people if they end up booking with me. So I reminded myself of the own boundaries that I have set up within my energy field that I chose not to honor within that moment because, well, truth be told, I thought that they were going to book with me. And so I was like really giving them this gift that they didn't want to receive. Or really this free thing that I should have taken a step back and recognized that there is this potential here where people will misuse another person's energy, really. Because not only did I, and I'm so grateful for myself for recognizing my own energetic process and not putting myself out there to the degree of having even had more of because I know in the past what I had done is it was almost like I would feel this energy, right? This off, something being off. And rather than recognizing it and pulling my energy back, it was almost like I would just try to do more. Right? Try to do more. And so rather than beating myself up over that, right, I recognize that. Look at how far I've come. And I only have this one little piece left. Aha. Now I understand why I have that. Now I understand why I created that. For me, to honor my time, my energy. It's not to charge somebody and to take somebody's money. No, it's not about that. It's not greedy. No, I'm going to choose to honor my time, my energy, 100% completely. And then through that process, I was able to see, well, if I'm honoring my time and energy so much, and this over here that I have going on, and we were not a match, then I obviously can also see that my time and energy is actually worth more than that in and of itself, if that makes sense, to bring it to that level and that understanding. So essentially it's in the idea of there is something greater for me within that window of where I could have been, right, tied up energetically. I hope that makes sense. And I hope people can see that so they can begin to shift out of where they may have kind of fallen, right? And recognize this as an opportunity to rise up into a new space of being. So this video essentially, it's about honoring one's energy, honoring one's time, honoring creation of boundaries, honoring one's boundaries. And really just kind of, for some, it's going to be this last piece of the puzzle, you know, beginning to bring these last pieces of the puzzle in, you know, and also, like, for instance, like recognizing this experience with this woman, you know, or this experience itself, let's say, allowing myself to have that full spectrum of experience. I can be upset with what happened. I can feel that. I'm allowed to feel that, really, that kind of just, you know, the way it feels to me is it's just kind of like this pretentious, like, well, I'm worth more than you type of thing. It's just that feeling. Like, well, what am I? Am I just here to serve you without any exchange? And you know what? I loved what I did when I responded to this last email. I took my power back and I essentially said, yeah, I could feel that your energies were elsewhere. Many blessings. Thank you. Because no, you're not going to put this on me. You're not going to put this on me. Your energies weren't there. You used me. And I'm not going to essentially placate, right, and be okay with that. I'm going to say, no, that's you. You know, it's essentially that. It's, okay, so, you know, like, my old stance may have either been completely going off the wall triggered. You know, not to say that I would, you know, I know enough to not, you know, but to pull my energy back, right? That would have been to go off the wall triggered. But I managed to bring myself into a higher space regarding it and still honor the entirety of the experience, because I'm not going to sit there and say no, that I wasn't being used, because I was. She told me, right? They used me in order to make a decision. And me not connecting with her husband, her husband went to go be on a work call during our meeting. I don't think that had anything to do with me. So don't project that on me, right? It's that. And it's, again, it's that honoring of one's process, honoring of one's experience, right? Honoring of your experience, the entirety of it, but also still at the same time transmuting that energy, recognizing, okay, well, this is giving me a great opportunity to see where I am not in alignment and where I need to, and I don't want to say protect my energy, because it's not about protecting. It's not about, oh my God, you know, no, it's about honoring, right? Honoring that energy, honoring that time accordingly. And it just being that in and of itself, right? An old stance might be, okay, yes, I can get to this space. And then it's, you know, because what I imagined myself then moving forward, and the next time this presents itself, well, what will I do, right? Will I have learned to honor my time and my energy and to offer them up the ability to book that extra 1 hour with me for, you know, this, to talk about what I have to offer them, not to get free work out of me. No, 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 it doesn't work like that. right? It's that. Because of our being this energetic light being, right, we must set up these, really create these very well-designed containers within our energy field, to receive, to honor one's self. Because, when I look back, it's not just the time that it took me to get there. It's not just the time that it took me to be there, right? It's the time that it took me to process, to begin to align, to begin to think about, oh, I need a babysitter for these days, because they had a really interesting schedule that they desired, and I was willing to meet them there, right? Because that is that is what I have to offer. Like, I want to be able to, meet somebody where they, with what they are designing for themselves, let's say. So I'm not going to sit there and, take that away. Oh, yes, I can be there, but I also recognize I have to get a babysitter. I have to set these things up. And yet no understanding on their part, no thought process whatsoever about me or my energy, right? Yes, they thanked me for it, but you used me. Do you see how that was? You knew, and yet you knew you wanted this, but you wanted to use me in this fashion. And so it's that, nope, we're not going to allow this to continue. It's a dynamic. Do you see? It's a dynamic. And it's one that we're intended to end, right? Through one's own process of, understanding, of discernment, and one's honoring of one's energy. And when each individual is able to be within that space, then we can all be free, right? And so it's always within that, alignment and that allowance, and also recognizing what one can receive out of it. So I can receive all of that energy and back, right, that I was possibly going to be tying up. Okay, so now I have all this free space. Now, how do I honor my time and energy now? Right, in order to truly collect and receive this abundance. So how do I honor that, right, in this receptacle I get? So I just wanted to share that. I hope that this helps with your process, and just continuing to move forward with that, elevation, that recognition of your worth, that recognition of your value, that recognition of what you have to offer, right? And holding that sacred. That's it. You just hold your own time and your energy sacred, because it is all of it. All of it. And until next time, toodaloo.